We're moving on. So, as I stated earlier in the show, I have been playing Doom. I actually beat Doom. And I made a lot of notes here. Let me pull up my little handy-dandy notebook. Shout out to Blue's Clues. So, I just have listed here. I'm going to go in order of how I put it. So,
a clue!
So, the humor, I want to start off with the humor in this game. And the humor is really cool. It's very on the nose, very over-the-top brutality. Like, there's a lot of jokes in the game that are just like, we're Doom, you know? Like, this is Doom. You get it, you know?
It's Doom, bitch.
Yeah, kind of like how Spider-Man was on the nose in Civil War. Like, Doom is Doom. Like, a lot of those jokes hit because this is what you expect when you play Doom. You know, it's fast, it's fun, it's a great homage to, like, the original Doom. The mechanic of glory kills in the game is really fun, where you can chain glory kills. If you guys aren't familiar, glory kills, when you get an enemy to a certain health threshold, you melee them and it performs a glory kill, which is an animation of you killing them like super brutally. Like one of the big enemies in the game, you rip out their heart, stick it in their mouth, and they explode. Like, it's super dope.
So this is a kid's game.
Yeah, definitely a kid's game.
Baby game.
Yeah, the glory kills are awesome. You can chain them through enemies. You can go weak, and like if you damage people in the right way, and by the end of the game you kind of get the flow of how much damage it takes to get somebody to glory kill range. You can chain these glory kills, and you can get like upgrades that whenever you glory kill somebody, you gain health. So it actually helps you stay in battle and combat, because Doom is all about shooting, right? And like crazy gameplay. Before I get into anything else, the game is the best running game on Xbox One, and that's no surprise because it's id Software. They know how to make games run. This game is hands down the best running game possibly I've ever played. And I've played games on PC, on really nice PCs, and like for me personally, holding this game, it ran really well. Like there was no hiccups. It's definitely the best experience I've had on a console. Rage was really smooth too, but no one liked Rage, so that was also from id. What else? So the collectibles are really cool. Some of the collectibles are their figures of classic Doom suits from older games, and they actually give you a little synopsis of like where they're from. And whenever you pick him up, he does like a little animation with the actual character, and he says something. It's really funny. Basically going back into that Doom is Doom kind of humor. The variation of enemies is really well done. It escalates at a reasonable pace of like you have your easy enemies and a little bit harder, then a little bit harder. There's never really a drastic jump in difficulty, which I really enjoy. Level design is impeccable. You never feel as if you're lost. You always know where to go. So like it's very easy, very intuitive. Once again, I said this is id, so it's like not hard to know that they're great at level design. Fights, like I stated before, they're gloriously nonstop. Like you can get caught in a fight and not even realize that, you know, like 5 minutes have passed, because it's constant action. And that's not the whole game. There's definitely areas where it's exploring and appreciating this world that they built. The bosses, like I said, they're challenging. There's not a boss at the end of every level. But as the game starts ramping up, like I said, you hit these major milestones, and I don't want to ruin it because Dom is planning on possibly playing it. There's these major milestones where you play bosses, and sometimes they get to the Dark Souls point of like, this is frustrating, but you're so close that you want to do it again, right? So, yeah, the bosses are really cool. The BFGs in the game, the big fucking gun, which is awesome. The way they introduce that game at the end of the game is awesome. I love... Are you guys familiar with the BFG from Doom?
I've heard of it.
It's one of the most iconic guns in games. Like, it's just a big gun that does a lot of damage. It chains through enemies. So towards the end of the game, when you have these massive fights with tons of enemies on screen, it basically chains and kills all of them at once, but it's very limited ammo, so you want to use it in the most dire of situations. The callbacks are great, but they're not to the point of where it forces you to know the old Doom. I think you can get in and just understand the humor. So it walks that fine line of you're familiar with Doom or you're not familiar with Doom, you're still going to have a good time, which I think is great for a quote-unquote relaunch reboot of this series. Sorry I'm going so long. I have a lot of notes here. The ending is tough, and it's rewarding as well. You fight the mastermind. It's very strategic. You have to figure out what exactly you're doing. You have to switch guns. You run out of ammo. So it forces you to know how to use guns. So you can't just run with a shotgun through the entire game like a lot of shooters. You can run through one gun through an entire single-player campaign. This game really forces you to know how to use all of the weapons. The upgrading system is cool. The ending obviously leads to a sequel. That's obvious. before we get into an open dialogue, I want to talk about the achievements real quick because I love going for achievements / trophies if you're on PlayStation. I played this game for 3 days and I got 700 out of 1,000 gamer score, which is like it's obviously 70% if you're a trophy hunter, I guess. And that was without even really trying. It seems like it's an easy 1,000 and easy plat if you own the game. A couple of things I loved about the achievements. Jordan and I were talking about this before the show. It only has 2 multiplayer achievements, one for winning a match and one for reaching level 5, which I think are doable. Obviously, it sucks in the future if no one's playing multiplayer. You can't really get those. But I still think it's a step in the right direction for multiplayer achievements. And the difficulty achievements for beating the game, there's one achievement for beating the game on any game mode except the hardest, and the other one is for beating the first level on the hardest difficulty. So it doesn't force you to replay through a game and kind of lose your love of that game just for trying to grind out a hard mode achievement, which I really think is good. My only problem with this game is that its pacing as far as storytelling, and obviously it's Doom, it's not going to have the greatest storytelling, but the way it leads you into things is a little off. I don't think it's terrible pacing, but I think it is something to mention. I don't want to just give you everything I loved about the game and not have anything negative. I do think the pacing is a little rough, but as far as the enemy difficulty pacing, I think that's very well done. It's the storytelling beats and stuff, the arc, that's a little off. But yeah, I love Doom. It was fun. I took a lot of notes, as you guys saw. So, any questions? Anything?
Have you played the multiplayer?
Yeah, I played the multiplayer. I played 10 matches or so. It's forgettable. It runs well. That's not the problem. It's just, and this will lead into our next topic, obviously. But if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, it's going to be something I want to get invested in. And it's just a shoot 'em up. And it's fun, but, you know, it's what it is. It's nothing out of the water.
So real quick, give us some deets on that, what is it, the Snap map?
Oh, yeah. So it has 3 major game modes. Or, yeah, I guess game modes. Multiplayer, campaign, Snap map. One thing I didn't write down that's a kind of a complaint. When you click on one of those 3 things, you have to load up that version of Doom. It's like launching campaign Doom, launching multiplayer Doom, which probably helps the game running so well in those specific game modes because it runs its own kind of thing. But it doesn't take too long to load. Snap map is a build your own game mode / map mode in the game. People are being very creative with it. It allows you to take certain pieces. Everything's already pre-built. It's not like Project Spark or, Little Big Planet where you have to make things from scratch. They're pre-built rooms that you just literally snap together. It's like Legos or Mega Blocks with map editing. And obviously, when you give people tools, they can be really clever. People have made Crash Bandicoot-esque runners where you run towards the screen to run away from things. People have made campaign missions harkening back to the original Doom. People have made specific like multiplayer modes. Like, people are getting very creative with it. And one of the achievements is to play 5 published Snap maps. So I made sure to play 5 distinct maps to get the achievement. So I kind of see what people are doing with the tools. I really like when games implement this because this can give the game longevity. People will get off of multiplayer and they'll get dead on it. But having the secondary create a thing where it's not just multiplayer maps, where it's specifically the tools are there to make whatever you want, can definitely give you more of a reason to buy this game. If it wasn't for the Snap map, I don't think this game would be worth purchasing at $60. I don't think so, personally. I think it's a rent. I think you're okay if you buy it, but I don't think you necessarily have to buy it. The multiplayer is forgettable. Campaign's really fun. But, the Snap map does warrant the $60. I will say that much.
I am jealous. I do want to get to this. Everything about it is right up my alley. I love gore in games and, those kind of brutal takedown animations. Like, I would probably play this game and just do that glory kill mechanic over and over and over. Like, I love that stuff.
It's fun. It's really fun.
That would be, like, that kind of stuff is always really satisfying. And maybe I need mental help for having those thoughts. But, yeah. But I also appreciate how much you like the smoothness and the how the game ran. Maybe I'll start to wean you over towards the PC mustard race.
Jordan, don't let him take me. Save me.
But it's cool that they did that on consoles too. I've always found it interesting that consoles don't give you the choice of do you want your game to run at 30 FPS with a couple higher details or graphic settings or whatever, or do you want it to run smoother and maybe we got to take a couple shadows out? So I thought Last of Us Remastered did that, and that was cool. But obviously on PC you can change every last thing and play it exactly how you want. So
yeah, I definitely think that this is a must play for people this year. I definitely think this is a game that's going to be overshadowed because it's not the Uncharted 4 storytelling, or it isn't this or it isn't that. But this game did a lot of great things for its genre and its style of game. I really think that this might be the best shooter all year.
Seems like a sleeper hit to me.
Yeah, it's a really solid game. id Software makes great games. No one complained about Rage from a like a gameplay running perspective. The story was a little weird, right? So id Software is always known for making great games. Obviously, they already had previous lore and storytelling elements here where they couldn't screw it up, right? But like even the puzzles in this game are great. Like like I said, there's very few things I can say negative about this game. And it was a game I was honestly expecting just to go in and play, and just a game to play. And I actually really fell in love with this game. I really thought it was really well done. So,
Dom, you were talking about, lowering the frame rate for a higher resolution or vice versa. The Neo demo that they just had actually had that.
Right. Yeah, that's something I think. I mean, maybe it's a lot of extra work for developers. I can't imagine, but if that's the case and that's a concession they have to make to get a game on console, then I guess they have to. But I think that should be on every game.
See that. I'd like to see that in more games. That would be cool.
Also, going back, this is real quick before we get into Dom's topic. Going back to the whole thing of like all of Xbox's exclusives are going to be also on Windows 10, meaning that like the porting and everything is going to be really well done. That means that PC gamers don't have to get a shitty console port as they sometimes happen to get, which is kind of unfortunate. Hey guys, Jerrad here, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you really like us, hit that subscribe button so you can be tuned in and updated whenever we upload a new video. If you haven't been following us on Twitter, that's CTRLINT, @Controlled Interests. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.